Hello and welcome back to another OverlordBou video, and today we're going to be looking at the top secondary melt your face DPM ships. This is the video if you're looking for a secondary ship that is currently you can get in the game that you want to brawl with. You can use your torpedoes, secondaries, main guns, you name it. You're going to build a brawl with these ships, and these are the top ones in the game on this list. So let's just hop right into it. So the first one on this list is going to be the Napoli. The Napoli is one of the best tier 10 cruiser brawlers in the game. It is currently available for coal, so you can use a coal coupon in the armory. It costs around, let me just double check the cost real quick for it coal wise. For coal wise, it costs 252,000, and you can use the coupon of the 25% off to reduce the price as well. So you can do that if you are interested in this ship. This ship has 11-kilometer secondaries that are sap. They do a lot of damage to destroyers, cruisers, and battleships alike. It also has 8 torpedoes. 4 on each side in the rear, and the guns actually have a lot of pen for the AP, so they can do a lot of damage to battleships, cruisers, and destroyers if they do citadel. But the problem is that they're not like that massive high of damage, so unless you're doing citadels, it's going to be like little damage over time, but you'll still do a lot of damage. Also great HE thrower as well. For the ship's main gimmicks, it has a exhaust smoke fighter combo, so that while you are brawling or going in, you can use that smoke to be able to stay stealthed up. You can also shoot inside the smoke up to 8.8 kilometers. So if something's about to enter that 8.8 kilometers while you're brawling, make sure to stop shooting the main guns and just have the secondaries going. And while you're in that smoke, you then use the fighter to keep the enemy spotted while you're brawling. And you also then use the torpedoes if you do a drive-by. You can just try and nuke somebody with the torpedoes off of both sides, off the rear, be able to do that. Because the angles on these torpedoes are really good off of the rear and a little bit on the front, but you still have to show a lot of side to be able to get them off. So make sure if you are going to use them off of like the front when you're running at somebody, make sure they already shot or you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So next recommendation. Now this was really tough for me to narrow down. So the next one is going to be the Pommern. Now it was the Pommern, Karl, or Verdi, right? So all three of these are amazing tier 9 brawlers in their own right? So the Pommern has 6-kilometer hydro. You can build IFHE in the secondaries to get 32 millimeter of pen, which absolutely melts enemies. You also get an amazing keel. The gun angles aren't the best, but you do get that German hydro and also get torpedoes off of the side, so it really does well off of that. The Verdi, it has the exhaust smoke just like the Napoli, and also has sap secondaries that can do a lot of damage while brawling in that regard. And also all these ships are pretty tanky. And the final one is going to be the Karl. The Karl has regular secondaries. They don't have as much pen as the Pommern or the Verdi, but they're more like fire starting secondaries that are good for hitting destroyers and like cruisers. And now they will start fires on bigger, like on battleships or heavier cruisers, but they're not going to pin them, so you'll be more relying on that fire. Now this ship does have a lot of torpedoes. It has longer range torpedoes that are 13.5 kilometers, and its concealment is absolutely amazing at 10.6. And it also has a 5-kilometer hydro, so 1 kilometer less than the Pommern. So very cool that it does, but the one main issue is that it doesn't have a lot of HP. 72,000 HP. The Verdi has 69,000, surprisingly. That's actually extremely low. And then you have the Pommern as well, but the Pommern has 81,000. Now, even though the Verdi does have low HP, the main gimmick it does have is that exhaust smoke, which helps you a lot with staying alive, which is why I choose the Verdi. It is the lowest HP out of them all, with the Karl being 72,000, the Pommern being 81, and the Verdi being 69. But what makes this thing being able to survive a lot is that exhaust smoke. So if you're gonna choose more of like if you want a brawler, if you want one with torpedoes, I would suggest the Pommern, or the Pommern. The Pommern's more of an overall really strong German brawler, with the 32 millimeters of pen for the secondaries, torpedoes, 6 kilometer hydro. It makes a really good pick. I mean, personally, I'd probably pick more of the Verdi because of that exhaust smoke, and you can also use a fighter to spot wire in the smoke. And these secondaries do pack a punch with them being sap, so they do a lot of damage. So for my second pick, it's going to be the Verdi, for that one. Now, if you aren't trying to get a doubloon ship, you can always get the Pommern instead. It is for coal, so you are able to get the Pommern for coal instead of doubloons. The Verdi and the Karl should cost around 19,300 doubloons, which is the normal cost of a tier 9. Pommern, it should cost around, let me just double check the price for coal. For coal, it's going to be 228,000 coal. So if you'd rather just get a coal brawler, then Pommern. If you're looking for more of a doubloon one, then Verdi or the Karl. So that's my melt your face DPM for the tier 9. Next ship is going to be one that is in the tech tree, the Schlieffen. The Schlieffen is one of the best tech tree secondary ships in the game. A lot of normally you build this exactly the same way as the Pommern. So you build into IFHE to get that 32 millimeters of HP. The accuracy on these secondaries are insane, and they are one of the highest secondary DPMs in the game. You also have 8 420 millimeter guns. You also have 16 torpedoes on this ship with 13.5 kilometers. They do a lot of damage as well, with being 16,000. And you have a concealment of 12.6 and a secondary range of 12.5. So 12.5 range for the secondaries, and then you have a concealment of 12.6. So the moment you get spotted, you're legit inside your secondary range. And this thing is absolutely insane in that regard. It also is really quick with a 35.8 knot speed, and that is with the speed flag, so it is with that. It's just incredible, and it is in the tech tree as well, so you can get this ship for free. You just have to grind down the German tech tree down here and get it right here. It is a lot of fun to play. It's a really good brawler. It's good for brawls itself or randoms. A lot of time you're kind of waiting for that middle to late game to be able to push in and shove at that point. And when you do that, you're going to be melting enemies, destroyers, cruisers, battleships, you name it. It also has a 5.5 kilometer hydro, which makes it where you're going to be able to detect torpedoes if they're coming at you, or ships that are inside of smoke or through islands. So it's really nice to have that as well. So this is definitely one of the top brawler ships in the game currently, the Schlieffen is. Now, another pick for the tech trees brawlers is going to be the Libertad. And yeah, this thing is legit just on a whole nother level. It's just as good. It's just as good or better than the Schlieffen, and I'm going to explain why, right? So first off, this thing is incredibly maneuverable, not speed-wise, but acceleration-wise. This ship has the same acceleration of a St. Vincent or Vermont, so it can go 0 to 30 knots in about 5 or 6 seconds or so. It doesn't take very long. It's really quick. So if you've ever seen a legendary Des Moines, if you've seen how quick those accelerate, or the British cruisers, that's how fast this thing can accelerate. And it's absolutely insane that something this long can accelerate this fast. It's absolutely insane. And also the fact that it has these massive 234 millimeter secondaries that have 59 millimeters of HE pen, by the way. And these things do 3,850 damage. They do a lot of damage to anything that comes within the range. And these secondary ranges are 12.5 for this ship. And you also get 12 guns. This thing has 12 419 millimeter guns. Absolutely insane. for a secondary brawler. The secondary angles also on the ship are really good as well, so you're able to use the angles really well. So if something tries to hit you with AP, you can kind of use this really long side to get a lot of ricochets to take less damage, due to the fact that they are 51 millimeters. Also has a thicker deck with the 51 millimeters, so it's a lot tankier compared to the Schlieffen. The Schlieffen has about, let me just double check real quick, has about 50 millimeters, 27 here, 19. Also the fact that the Schlieffen has casemates, which are well known to prone to just eating AP shells and taking a lot of damage. The Schlieffen has 76,000 HP, while the Libertad has 85,000. So you'll definitely take a lot more. You'll take less. You'll be able to tank more while in this ship. And what makes this ship such a strong secondary ship isn't just what we just talked about. It's because of this little thing right here, the combat instruction. So this combat instruction, which is they have different ones on different Pan American lines or ships themselves. Pretty much what makes it is when you receive 1,000 potential damage per 1,000, you gain 0.15% of the bar, right? And when you hit an enemy ship with main battery shells, it increases this bar by 6.5%. So you're able to when you're tanking or brawling itself, you are getting the combat instruction by just taking potential damage, which is absolutely insane. So you aren't just getting it from your main battery shell hits, you're getting it from potential damage that you are taking from dodging torpedoes, CV missing you or hitting you, or from shells missing you or airstrikes missing you. All that counts toward the potential damage. So you can just earn those combat instructions over and over and over and over again. And what makes this one so insane is that it increases your range by 20%, makes your reload 20% faster, and the secondaries do 30% more damage. This line has better combat instructions than the Hanover, which is crazy that a tier 10 has a better combat instruction than a super ship. And with this combat instruction, the Libertad has a better DPM with its secondaries than the Schlieffen. So without the combat instruction, the Schlieffen has more DPM in the secondaries, but when this is active, the Libertad has more DPM than the Schlieffen. And also, if you remember correctly, the 234s have 59 millimeters of pen, so it can pen a lot more ships rather than the Schlieffen that can only pen 32 millimeters with those secondaries. So with that higher pen of the HE shells, you will be doing way more damage overall to every ship that you encounter. Destroyers, cruisers, battleships, you name it, it doesn't matter. And if you have the legendary commander for the Pan Americans, it even adds to this on top, where Relentless Fire, so activates once per battle upon hitting enemy ships, 175 times with the main and secondaries. It's a combination of both, not just one or the other. It's a combination of both. You get a 5% main battery reload time boost, a 22.5 secondary reload time boost, which is absolutely insane how fast it makes the secondaries, and a torpedo tube reload time of 10%. It absolutely incredible. It makes this ship from good, like it makes it from great to just outright OP in randoms or just brawl situations with how easy it is to get this on the commander. The other one that makes this ship really good is the Master and Commander. It makes it where it's when you activate the combat instruction twice in a battle, after that, it makes it where the bar is already filled 20% from then on. So after you activate the combat instruction twice, it becomes 20% easier to get the bar filled over and over and over again, which makes it where you already getting it easy, and it just becomes easier. So you're gonna be activating it all the time, non-stop. Also makes your ship 5% quicker, which is nice to be able to make yourself more maneuverable. So These are the Schlieffen and the Libertad were the two secondary recommendations for Melt Your Face DPM, the secondary meta. The final ship we'll be talking about is the old reliable Agincourt, the tier 5 secondary legend itself. This ship is available in the armory for doubloons. So if you are interested in that, let me just check out that price for you real quick. The price is doubloons, tier 5, battleship. It costs 5,300 doubloons. And again, you can use a coupon for 25% off if you are interested in getting this ship. This ship is a lot of fun to play at tier 5. Great brawler. You have 14 guns, a little bit overkill on the number of guns. And you have over 30 secondaries. You get 15 per side. That is a lot of secondaries on this ship. A lot of fun to play. For the build, you don't build an IFHE, you just build for a regular secondary build. The secondaries go out to 8.3 kilometers. Now, this thing doesn't have the best concealment. It is tier 5, but it has 11.9, which is really good for a tier 5. So you just have to run at your enemy and hopefully that you get close enough, and then you have fun brawling. And at tier 5, a lot of people are trying to look for a brawl or be more close to range. Destroyers, cruisers, battleships, you name it. So you're going to be tearing them apart with all those guns and the secondaries. And so that is going to be it for this video. Now, if you guys have any questions or your own secondary ship meta recommendations, definitely let us know in the comments down below. This is OverlordBou. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys in the next video.